Most people misunderstand waiting. They think waiting is a pause in life, a useless space between desire and reward. They believe that when nothing seems to happen, life has forgotten them. But this belief comes from an undisciplined mind that measures progress only by visible results. In truth, waiting is not empty time. Waiting is active training. It is the silent forge where strength is shaped without applause. When God makes you wait, it is not because you are being ignored, but because you are being prepared for a weight you could not yet carry. Think deeply about what happened during your waiting period. Nothing looked impressive from the outside. There were no breakthroughs to post, no victories to announce, no clear signs to point at. Yet inside, something uncomfortable was happening. You were being asked to remain steady without certainty. You were being asked to trust without evidence. This is one of the hardest disciplines a human being can develop. Anyone can stay motivated when results are visible. Only the disciplined can remain grounded when progress is invisible. Waiting strips you of illusions. At first, you believe that motivation will carry you. Then motivation fades. You believe encouragement from others will sustain you. Then people disappear. You believe circumstances will improve quickly. Then time stretches longer than expected. Slowly, layer by layer, waiting removes your dependencies. What remains is your raw relationship with yourself. Can you sit with doubt without panicking? Can you continue to act correctly even when rewards are delayed? This is the real training. In the waiting phase, impatience becomes your greatest enemy. The mind starts whispering dangerous thoughts. Maybe you are not chosen. Maybe you wasted time. Maybe others are moving ahead while you are stuck. These thoughts are tests. They are not meant to be believed. They are meant to be observed. A disciplined person does not argue with every thought. They watch it arise, feel its discomfort, and let it pass without action. This restraint builds inner authority. Each time you do not react impulsively, you gain control over yourself. Waiting also teaches humility. When progress slows, the ego has nothing to feed on. There is no praise, no recognition, no proof of importance. This can feel painful because the ego craves validation. But humility is not humiliation. Humility is clarity. It allows you to see where you still lack skill, focus, patience, or consistency. Without waiting, arrogance grows unnoticed. With waiting, arrogance collapses, and what replaces it is quiet confidence. During this period, many people quit. They conclude that waiting means failure. But those who endure understand that deeper laws, timing is intelligence. Just as a seed does not sprout the day it is planted, your growth follows a rhythm that cannot be rushed. If a seed grows too fast, it becomes weak. If fruit ripens too early, it lacks nourishment. Nature never hurries, yet everything is accomplished. Waiting aligns you with this law. While you waited, your nervous system was learning to tolerate uncertainty. Your emotions were learning stability. Your mind was learning patience. These are not small skills. These are foundational strengths. A person who has not learned to wait will panic when pressure increases. A person who has not learned to endure silence will seek distraction when focus is required. God does not release responsibility to those who collapse under delay. Waiting also reveals intention. When nothing happens, motivation is tested. Are you doing this because you truly value the path, or only because you expect quick rewards? When the rewards disappear temporarily, only sincerity remains. If you continued, even inconsistently, even imperfectly, it means something inside you was real. That sincerity is more valuable than talent. Talent without endurance collapses. Endurance without talent adapts and survives. You may not realize it, but the waiting period refined your desires. At the beginning, you wanted outcomes. Over time, you began wanting stability. You wanted peace. You wanted clarity. You wanted inner strength more than external approval. This shift is crucial. When desires mature, actions become grounded. You stop chasing and start building. You stop reacting and start responding. God's timing is not about convenience, it is about capacity. You were not delayed because the opportunity was not ready. You were delayed because you were not ready. Not ready to handle pressure without ego. Not ready to manage success without losing discipline. Not ready to receive without becoming careless. Waiting builds containment. It strengthens the inner structure so that when expansion comes, you do not break. Every day you waited, you practiced restraint without realizing it. You learned how to wake up and continue despite uncertainty. You learned how to function without guarantees. This is rare strength. Most people need reassurance to move forward. You learn to move forward anyway. This is why the wait is now over. The lesson has been absorbed into your behavior, not just your understanding. The waiting period also trained your perception. You began noticing smaller details. You became aware of patterns in your thoughts, habits, and reactions. You started seeing how easily the mind creates drama when it lacks direction. Awareness grew quietly. Awareness is power. A person who sees clearly cannot be manipulated easily by fear or urgency. Now, when God says the wait is over, it does not mean the struggle ends. It means the foundation is complete. You are no longer fragile in uncertainty. You are no longer dependent on immediate results. You are no longer rushing blindly. You have been trained to stand firmly before moving forward. Understand this clearly: nothing you endured was wasted. Every delayed answer sharpened your patience. Every unanswered prayer strengthened your resilience. Every moment of doubt taught you self-observation. You were not idle. You were being trained at a level deeper than comfort allows. This is why congratulations are deserved. Not because life suddenly favors you, but because you stayed when leaving would have been easier. You endured internal storms without collapsing outwardly. You allowed time to shape you instead of fighting it. Now that the waiting phase has completed its work, you must carry its discipline into action. Do not abandon the calm you developed. Do not rush simply because movement is now possible. Move with the same steadiness you practiced while waiting. That steadiness is your true reward. The wait was not a delay in your life. It was your life preparing itself. Silence is often misunderstood. In a world that rewards noise, explanation, and constant expression, silence is mistaken for weakness. People believe that if you are quiet, you are losing. If you are not defending yourself, you are failing. If you are not announcing your struggle, it does not matter. But this belief belongs to an undisciplined society that confuses attention with power. In truth, silence is one of the highest forms of strength, and during your waiting period, silence became your greatest ally. When you were silent, you conserved energy. Every explanation you did not give saved strength. Every argument you refused preserved clarity. While others scattered their power through words, complaints, and emotional reactions, you gathered yours inward. Silence allowed you to stay centered when chaos tried to pull you outward. This is not accidental. This is trained restraint. Silence teaches you to listen, not only to others, but to yourself. When external noise decreases, internal signals become clearer. You begin to hear your real motivations instead of borrowed opinions. You notice which thoughts repeat themselves, which fears demand attention, which desires fade when not fed by validation. This listening is uncomfortable at first. Many people avoid silence because it forces them to confront themselves. You did not avoid it, you stayed. In silence, the ego weakens. The ego thrives on reaction. It wants to be seen, heard, confirmed. When you choose silence, the ego starves. This is why silence feels difficult in the beginning. The mind searches for reasons to speak, to justify, to prove. But each time you remain quiet, you take a small step away from ego-driven behavior and toward disciplined presence. Over time, silence stops feeling like suppression and starts feeling like freedom. During your quiet phase, people may have misunderstood you. Some assumed you lacked confidence. Some assumed you had nothing to say. Some assumed you had given up. This misunderstanding is part of the training. If you need to be understood by everyone, you will never be free. Silence teaches you to detach from the need for recognition. You learn to act correctly without witnesses. This is rare integrity. Silence also sharpens perception. When you are not busy talking, you observe more. You notice inconsistencies in words and actions. You see how people reveal their intentions without realizing it. You recognize patterns that loud minds miss. This awareness gives you strategic advantage. A quiet person sees the room before moving. A loud person moves blindly and calls it confidence. Your silence was not passive. It was active containment. You were holding your reactions, your emotions, your plans. Like a blade kept in its sheath, your power was preserved, not wasted. Power that is constantly displayed weakens quickly. Power that is contained grows dense and controlled. This is why disciplined traditions value silence, not to suppress expression, but to refine it. In silence, you learned emotional regulation. Instead of reacting immediately to frustration, disappointment, or doubt, you allowed emotions to rise and fall without acting on them. This skill is essential. A person who cannot regulate emotion cannot be trusted with responsibility. Silence gave you space to practice this regulation daily. You felt things deeply, but you did not let feelings dictate your actions. Silence also protected your vision. When you announce your goals too early, they become vulnerable to outside influence. Opinions distort them. Doubts infect them. Expectations burden them. By staying quiet, you allowed your intentions to mature without interference. What grows in silence develops stronger roots. God saw this. Not the silence that comes from fear, but the silence that comes from discipline. Not the silence of avoidance, but the silence of control. There is a difference. Fearful silence shrinks you. Disciplined silence stabilizes you. You were learning when to speak and when to withhold. This discernment separates the impulsive from the composed. Silence also taught you patience with misunderstanding. You did not rush to correct every false assumption. You did not demand immediate recognition. This tolerance is powerful. It trains you to stay focused on what matters instead of reacting to every distraction. A person who reacts to everything controls nothing. A person who chooses when to respond controls themselves. While you were quiet, your inner dialogue changed. Instead of seeking external reassurance, you learned to reassure yourself through consistency. Instead of asking others for clarity, you practiced clarity through action. Silence forced you to rely on inner alignment rather than external approval. This is maturity. Many people speak to relieve tension. Silence taught you to sit with tension instead, to breathe through discomfort, to remain steady while uncertainty pressed against you. This steadiness becomes your anchor. When pressure increases, you do not collapse into noise. You return to stillness. Silence also refined your words. When you speak less, words gain weight. You stop wasting language on complaints or dramatization. You begin speaking only when necessary, only when truthful, only when constructive. This changes how people receive you. Quiet authority is felt, not announced. God values this restraint, because those who cannot control their tongue cannot control their life. Words create direction. Uncontrolled speech leads to uncontrolled outcomes. Through silence, you learned responsibility over expression. You learned that not every thought deserves a voice. This wisdom protects you. The waiting period gave you many opportunities to break silence, to vent, to justify, to seek sympathy. You chose otherwise, even when it was painful, even when it felt lonely. This choice strengthened your inner posture. You became self-contained. You stopped leaking energy into unnecessary conversations. Now, when the message says congratulations, it acknowledges this invisible discipline. Not the noise you made, but the noise you resisted. Not the explanations you gave, but the strength you preserved. Silence was your power, because it trained you to stand without external support. As the next phase begins, do not abandon silence. Use it wisely, speak with intention, act with calm. Let your presence communicate more than your words. Those who learned silence during waiting move with precision when action is required. Your silence was not emptiness, it was accumulation. When the waiting ends, many people expect relief. They imagine rest, ease, comfort, and reward. But this expectation is another illusion. The end of waiting is not the beginning of relaxation. It is the beginning of responsibility. When God removes delay, it is not to make life lighter, but to make life more precise. Something is now being placed in your hands, and your hands must be steady enough to hold it. During the waiting phase, you were protected by limitation. Opportunities were fewer, choices were narrower, pressure was controlled. This was not punishment, it was containment. Now that the wait is over, containment loosens. Space opens, movement becomes possible, and with movement comes consequence. Every action now matters more than before. Responsibility means there are fewer excuses available. You can no longer blame timing. You can no longer say the conditions are not right. You can no longer hide behind preparation forever. Responsibility begins the moment possibility appears. When the door opens, hesitation becomes a decision. When clarity arrives, inaction becomes a choice. This is why many people fear success more than failure. Failure allows repetition. Success demands consistency. Failure can be explained away. Responsibility cannot. When you are responsible, you are accountable not only for effort, but for outcome. God does not end the waiting for those who still need protection from their own impulses. The wait ends only when restraint has been internalized. Responsibility requires discipline without supervision. No one will be standing behind you reminding you to stay focused. No one will constantly correct your posture. The structure you developed during waiting must now operate independently. If discipline collapses when freedom appears, then the waiting was incomplete. Yours was not. With responsibility comes visibility, not necessarily public attention, but internal visibility. You will see clearly the results of your choices. There will be less confusion about cause and effect. When something works, you will know why. When something fails, you will feel it immediately. This clarity can be uncomfortable, but it is honest. Responsibility removes illusions. Many people believe responsibility is a burden. In reality, it is a privilege given only to those who have demonstrated reliability. You are being trusted. Trust is earned through consistency during unobserved moments. During your waiting phase, you showed up even when nothing responded. That is why trust is now extended to you. Responsibility also demands restraint at a higher level. Before, restraint meant patience. Now, restraint means precision. You must choose carefully what to accept and what to decline. Not every opportunity is aligned. Not every invitation deserves your energy. When waiting ends, distractions multiply. Discernment becomes critical. God ending your wait does not mean rushing is allowed. In fact, the opposite is required. The faster the environment moves, the calmer you must become. Responsibility requires inner stillness under pressure. If you panic when momentum increases, you will waste what was given. Speed without control leads to collapse. There is also a shift in identity. During waiting, you were becoming. Now, you are being relied upon. This does not mean you have completed your growth. It means your growth must now continue while carrying weight. This is the difference between training and performance. Training allows mistakes without consequence. Performance demands presence. Responsibility also exposes intention. When the path opens, motives become clear. Are you moving to serve ego or to serve purpose? Are you seeking validation or alignment? Waiting refined your desires. Responsibility tests them. What you choose now will shape not just your outcome, but your character. When responsibility arrives, guidance becomes subtler. During waiting, signs were obvious, delays were clear. Now, signals are quieter. You must listen more carefully. You must trust the inner compass you developed. This is why silence and patience were trained first. Without them, responsibility would overwhelm you. Responsibility also means carrying others indirectly. Your actions influence more than just yourself. Even if no one sees you, your stability affects the environment you move through. When a disciplined person enters a space, order increases. When an undisciplined person enters, chaos spreads. God does not release responsibility lightly. There will be moments when you miss the simplicity of waiting, when decisions were fewer, when expectations were lower. This nostalgia is natural, but you must not retreat. Growth always feels heavier before it feels natural. Muscles ache before they strengthen. Responsibility feels demanding before it feels integrated. You must also accept that mistakes will now cost more. This is not a threat. It is reality. The higher the responsibility, the smaller the margin for error. This is why awareness must remain sharp. Do not become careless because the door opened. Stay observant, stay humble, stay disciplined. Responsibility does not mean control over everything. It means responsibility for your response to everything. You cannot manage all outcomes, but you can manage your conduct. You cannot predict every challenge, but you can maintain posture under pressure. This is where true mastery shows. God ending the wait is not approval of comfort. It is recognition of readiness. Readiness to act without arrogance. Readiness to receive without attachment. Readiness to move forward without abandoning inner order. Responsibility is the continuation of the training, not its conclusion. Now you are expected to embody what you learned. Patience must become timing. Silence must become clarity. Endurance must become consistency. If these qualities remain theoretical, responsibility will expose the gap. If they are embodied, responsibility will feel demanding but manageable. The waiting phase built your foundation underground. Responsibility builds your structure above ground. Both are necessary. One without the other leads to collapse. You are now being asked to build visibly, using invisible strength. Do not look for reassurance. Responsibility rarely comes with encouragement. It comes with expectation. The expectation is not perfection, but integrity. Not speed, but steadiness. Not noise, but alignment. When the wait ends, life does not become easier. It becomes more honest. And honesty is a form of respect. You are being respected enough to be held accountable. This is why the wait is over. Not because the journey is finished, but because you are now capable of carrying it forward. Most people never hear the word congratulations spoken to them by life itself, not because they do not want success, peace, or meaning, but because they leave the path before the path can recognize them. To not quit is rare. To continue when there is no guarantee is uncommon. To endure when the reward is invisible is almost unheard of. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still searching, still standing. That alone is the reason this message exists in front of you today. Quitting does not always look dramatic. It is rarely a loud collapse. Most of the time, quitting is silent. It happens when a person keeps moving but stops believing. When they continue waking up but no longer feel purpose. When they smile in public but surrender privately. Many people are still alive, yet they have already quit on the inside. They go through the motions. They follow routines. They obey expectations. But the fire that once pushed them forward has been buried under disappointment, fear, and exhaustion. You did not let that happen completely, even if you were close. Even if there were nights when you questioned everything. Even if there were mornings when your body moved, but your spirit resisted. You did not fully surrender. You may have slowed down. You may have doubted. You may have felt lost. But you did not quit. And that distinction is everything. Endurance is not glamorous. It does not feel powerful in the moment. Endurance often feels like weakness because it is quiet. It is slow. It does not announce itself. There is no applause for surviving another difficult day. No ceremony for choosing patience instead of anger. No reward handed out for staying disciplined when nobody is watching. Yet this is exactly where real strength is formed. When life congratulates someone, it is not celebrating their achievements. It is recognizing their resistance. Resistance to giving up, resistance to bitterness, resistance to becoming small after being hurt. You resisted forces that tried to reshape you into something lesser than you truly are. You resisted the urge to numb yourself completely. You resisted the temptation to abandon your standards just to make life easier. There were moments when quitting would have made sense. Moments when walking away would have been understandable. Moments when anyone looking from the outside would have said, "I get why you stopped." But the path you are on was never about what others could understand. It was about what you could live with. Shi Heng Yi often speaks about mastery as something internal, not external. Mastery is not about dominating the world. It is about governing yourself. And the first sign of self-mastery is not talent or success, but restraint. Restraint from quitting when emotions demand escape. Restraint from reacting impulsively when pain seeks expression. Restraint from choosing comfort over growth. You were tested in ways that did not look heroic. Your tests came in repetition, in waiting, in being misunderstood, in delayed outcomes, in doing the right thing and seeing no immediate reward. These tests do not create stories people like to tell, but they create character strong enough to carry responsibility later. Many people want change, but few are willing to endure the identity confusion that comes before it. Before growth, there is always a phase where the old version of you no longer fits, but the new version has not yet fully formed. This is the most uncomfortable place to be. You feel unstable. You feel uncertain. You feel invisible. Most people quit here. They return to old habits, old patterns, old thinking, just to feel familiar again. You stayed, even if you complained internally, even if you questioned the process, even if you felt tired of being strong. You stayed long enough for the internal shift to begin. And that is why this moment matters. Life does not reward effort immediately, because immediate rewards create dependency. Delayed rewards create discipline. If every struggle paid instantly, endurance would be unnecessary. But endurance is the muscle that carries you when motivation disappears. Motivation is emotional. Endurance is structural. Motivation fluctuates, endurance remains. There were days when motivation abandoned you completely. Days when you did not feel inspired. Days when belief felt thin. But something deeper than motivation kept you moving. Maybe it was responsibility. Maybe it was stubbornness. Maybe it was faith. Maybe it was simply the refusal to let suffering be meaningless. Whatever it was, it carried you through moments that would have ended someone else's journey. Quitting is often disguised as being realistic. People say they are letting go, but what they are really doing is protecting themselves from disappointment. You did not do that. You allowed yourself to feel disappointment without letting it define your direction. That takes courage. Quiet courage. The kind that is never seen, but always felt. You learn to function without validation. That alone separates you from many. When praise disappears and progress continues, discipline has taken root. When nobody checks on you and you still show up for yourself, strength is no longer borrowed. It is owned. The mind looks for reasons to stop. It seeks safety. The body looks for comfort. The ego looks for recognition. But something within you looked for meaning. Meaning does not disappear when conditions are harsh. Meaning becomes clearer under pressure. This is why the word congratulations applies to you now. Not because life has become easy, but because you have become capable. Capable of holding discomfort without collapsing. Capable of waiting without resenting. Capable of continuing without constant reassurance. You may not feel victorious. You may not feel accomplished. That is normal. Endurance rarely feels rewarding in the moment. Its value becomes visible later, when challenges arise that would have destroyed your earlier self, and you realize you can now stand steady within them. The strongest people do not feel strong all the time. They simply refuse to abandon themselves. You did not abandon yourself. Even when you felt disconnected, Even when progress was invisible, even when the path felt lonely, life notices that, not emotionally, but structurally, reality adjusts to those who endure. Opportunities align differently. Responsibilities shift. People sense stability even when you say nothing. This is not mysticism. It is cause and effect. Those who quit often do so right before a turning point, not because the turning point is far away, but because endurance has reached its most demanding phase. Pressure increases before transformation. Resistance intensifies before growth. Darkness deepens before clarity. You were there, in that pressure, in that darkness, and you did not disappear. This does not mean you never felt weak. It means weakness did not have the final say. It means your emotions did not dictate your identity. It means pain did not rewrite your values. That is why this moment is not random. You did not accidentally arrive here. You earned the right to continue, not through perfection, but through persistence. From here forward, remember this: quitting is not always about stopping actions. Sometimes it is about stopping belief. Protect your belief not in outcomes, but in your ability to endure whatever comes next. Outcomes change, your capacity must not. You are no longer proving that you can start, you have proven that you can continue. That is far more rare, far more valuable, far more dangerous in the best possible way. So if today, January 11, you see this message, understand it clearly. Congratulations is not the end, it is recognition. Recognition that you did not collapse when it would have been easy. Recognition that you stayed present when escape was available. Recognition that you are no longer fragile in the way you once were. Walk forward with that knowledge quietly. Do not announce it. Do not demand acknowledgement. Let your steadiness speak later through your actions, your restraint, your calm. You did not quit. And because of that, your path is still open. The path was never meant to be comfortable, because comfort does not build depth. Comfort preserves what already exists, while difficulty reshapes what is unfinished. When you look back at the resistance you faced, it may seem unfair, excessive, or even cruel at times. But difficulty is not random, it is precise. It appears in the exact measure needed to stretch you beyond who you were, without destroying who you are becoming. If your journey felt heavy, it is because light loads do not strengthen the spine. If the road felt lonely, it is because crowded paths rarely lead to mastery. Growth requires space, and space often feels like isolation before it feels like freedom. Many people misinterpret hardship as rejection, but in reality, hardship is often an invitation to grow roots instead of chasing approval. You were placed in situations that demanded patience when you wanted speed, humility when you wanted recognition, and silence when you wanted to be understood. These were not punishments. They were lessons in internal authority. Before the world can trust you with influence, you must learn to govern yourself without supervision. Easy paths reward surface level effort. Hard paths demand internal alignment. On an easy road, you can move forward while still carrying unresolved fears, unstable emotions, and undisciplined habits. On a difficult road, everything inside you is exposed. Weak foundations crack. False identities fall apart. What remains is what is real. There were moments when you questioned why it had to be this hard for you, while others seemed to progress effortlessly. That comparison was part of the test. Easy progress often hides fragile structures. Hard-earned stability lasts longer because it is reinforced through pressure. Pressure does not weaken what is solid. It reveals what is weak and forces it to either adapt or collapse. Shi Heng Yi teaches that strength is not about overpowering obstacles, but about developing control within chaos. You were trained in chaos. You learned to breathe when circumstances tightened around you. You learned to observe your emotions instead of being dragged by them. You learned that reacting quickly often creates more damage than waiting calmly. Every delay refined your patience. Every disappointment sharpened your discernment. Every moment of silence forced you to listen inward instead of outward. This inward listening is rare in a world addicted to noise. Yet it is where wisdom forms. You are stripped of shortcuts. Shortcuts create speed, but not stability. When life removed the easy options, it was teaching you to build something sustainable. Something that does not collapse under pressure. Something that does not require constant validation to exist. There were phases where nothing seemed to move, yet everything was changing. Growth often happens underground first. Roots spread in darkness before anything becomes visible above the surface. Many people abandon the process here because they measure progress only by what they can see. You were forced to trust what you could not yet measure. That trust was forged in discomfort. You learned to keep going without guarantees. You learned to act responsibly even when outcomes were uncertain. This is not optimism. This is discipline. Optimism hopes things will work out. Discipline continues regardless of uncertainty. Hard paths do not just strengthen you, they clarify you. They remove illusions. You learn what truly matters when distractions are taken away. You learn what you can live without. You learn what you refuse to compromise. These lessons cannot be learned in comfort, because comfort negotiates values. When things became difficult, you were faced with choices. Not dramatic choices, but quiet ones. To stay honest when dishonesty would have been easier. To stay patient when anger would have felt justified. To stay committed when escape would have reduced pain temporarily. These small decisions accumulated into character. The world often celebrates results without understanding the cost behind them. You were taught the cost first. That is why your progress feels slower but deeper. That is why your confidence is quieter but stronger. That is why you do not rush to prove yourself anymore. You were trained to stand without constant reassurance. When external support disappeared, you learned to generate stability internally. This is one of the most valuable skills a human being can develop. The ability to remain centered, regardless of external fluctuation. The difficulty you faced forced you to become honest with yourself. You confronted your limitations instead of hiding them. You recognized your fears instead of denying them. You acknowledged your weaknesses instead of blaming circumstances. This honesty is uncomfortable, but it is also liberating. Once you see yourself clearly, you can improve intentionally. Hardship also refined your empathy. When you suffer consciously, you stop judging others so quickly. You understand that everyone carries unseen weight. This does not make you passive. It makes you perceptive. Perception is power when used correctly. There were times when the burden felt too heavy, when progress felt impossible, when exhaustion clouded your vision. These moments were not meant to break you. They were meant to show you where you still relied on force instead of alignment. Force eventually collapses. Alignment sustains. You learn to pace yourself, to move steadily instead of aggressively, to respect your limits without surrendering to them. This balance between acceptance and ambition is rare. Most people swing between extremes. You learned moderation through necessity. The difficulty also taught you to let go, not of your goals, but of attachments that weighed you down. You released expectations about how things should look, when they should happen, and who should be there with you. Letting go did not make you weaker, it made you lighter. Lightness is not the absence of responsibility. It is the absence of unnecessary resistance. When you stop fighting reality, you conserve energy. That energy can then be directed toward growth instead of frustration. Hard paths teach timing. You learned when to act and when to wait, when to speak and when to remain silent, when to push forward and when to stabilize. Timing cannot be taught intellectually. It is learned through experience and consequence. You also learned that not everything difficult is wrong. Some discomfort is a signal to adjust. Other discomfort is a signal to endure. Distinguishing between the two is wisdom. You develop that wisdom by paying attention instead of reacting impulsively. There is a reason your journey required solitude at times. Solitude removes mirrors. Without constant reflection from others, you are forced to define yourself internally. This is where identity becomes stable. An identity built only on feedback collapses when feedback changes. You were taught to become your own anchor, to ground yourself when external conditions were unstable. This skill will serve you long after current challenges fade. Many people appear strong when supported, but collapse when support disappears. You learn to stand independently. The hardness of the path also filtered relationships. Those who were only comfortable around you when things were easy slowly faded away. Those who remained, or those who will enter later, will connect with your depth, not your convenience. Quality replaces quantity naturally. Nothing you endured was wasted. Even the moments that felt meaningless contributed to your capacity. Capacity is invisible until it is required. One day, you will face a challenge that would have overwhelmed your former self, and you will handle it calmly. That is when you will understand why the path was hard. The difficulty shaped your nervous system. You became less reactive, more observant, less impulsive, more intentional. This internal regulation is a form of power that cannot be taken from you. You were not meant to grow fast. You were meant to grow strong. Fast growth often leads to shallow roots. Strong growth takes time because it integrates lessons fully instead of stacking experiences superficially. So when you think back on how hard it was, do not ask why it happened to you. Ask what it built within you. Strength is not a gift. It is a byproduct of surviving responsibly. You were not being delayed. You were being prepared. Prepared to carry more weight. Prepared to make better decisions. Prepared to remain calm when others panic. Prepared to move with clarity instead of urgency. The path was hard because the destination requires stability, and stability cannot be rushed. If you see this today, understand that the difficulty was not evidence of failure. It was evidence of refinement. You were not lost. You were being shaped. And because of that, you are now capable of walking forward with a steadiness that cannot be shaken easily. A threshold is not a place of comfort. It is a place of decision. It is the narrow line between what has been and what will be, where hesitation feels heavy and movement feels uncertain. Many people mistake a threshold for an ending because everything familiar begins to loosen its grip. But nothing is ending here. Something is reorganizing, and reorganization always feels like loss before it feels like clarity. When you reach a true threshold, the old ways no longer satisfy you, yet the new ways have not fully revealed themselves. This creates tension, a quiet tension that sits in the chest and asks difficult questions. Questions about identity, about direction, about responsibility. You are not confused because you are weak. You are confused because you are evolving. This moment does not ask you to celebrate. It asks you to become precise. Celebration can distract. Precision focuses. You are being invited to refine how you move, how you choose, how you respond. The skills that carried you to this point will not disappear, but they must now be applied with greater awareness. A threshold appears when your internal capacity has grown, but your external structure has not yet adjusted. This mismatch creates discomfort. You feel capable of more, yet your environment still reflects the old version of you. This is temporary, but it requires patience. Forcing change here often leads to instability. Waiting consciously allows alignment to occur naturally. At this stage, effort alone is no longer enough. You must now learn discernment. Discernment between what is necessary and what is habitual. Between what serves your future and what merely preserves your past. Continuing to act the same way while expecting different outcomes will exhaust you. This threshold demands adaptation. You may notice that certain things no longer energize you the way they once did. Certain conversations feel empty. Certain goals feel incomplete. This is not loss of ambition. It is refinement of intention. Ambition matures when it stops chasing validation and starts honoring alignment. Shi Heng Yi teaches that higher levels require greater control, not greater force. Control of attention, control of emotion, control of impulse. At this threshold, your biggest tests will not be external obstacles, but internal choices. No one will stop you. No one will push you. The responsibility shifts inward. You are now being tested on subtlety, on your ability to choose restraint over reaction, on your ability to pause instead of rush, on your willingness to let things unfold rather than forcing outcomes. These tests are invisible to others, but decisive for your future. This threshold will challenge your relationship with certainty. You may want clear signs, guaranteed outcomes, definite timelines, but clarity at this level is earned through movement, not waiting. You move carefully. You observe results, you adjust. This is not indecision. This is intelligent progression. You may feel a quiet pressure to prove yourself again. Resist it. Proving belongs to earlier stages. At this level, consistency speaks louder than display. Those who need to announce their progress are often unsure of it. Your steadiness will communicate more than words ever could. You are also being asked to release urgency. Urgency creates narrow vision. It compresses perception and leads to unnecessary mistakes. Calm movement expands awareness. It allows you to see options you would otherwise miss. This threshold rewards calm. The responsibilities ahead will require emotional regulation. You will be placed in situations where your reaction matters more than your intention, where your tone matters more than your words, where your presence influences outcomes more than your effort. This is why control has become so important. At this stage, distractions become more dangerous, not because they are bad, but because they dilute focus. What once seemed harmless now pulls energy away from what truly matters. You are learning to say no without guilt, to protect your time without explanation. This is not selfishness. This is stewardship. A threshold also brings increased visibility, even if it is not obvious yet. Your actions will begin to carry more weight. People will observe how you handle pressure, how you treat others, how you respond to uncertainty. Integrity becomes non-negotiable here. Small compromises now lead to large consequences later. You may feel moments of loneliness again, but this loneliness is different. It is not emptiness. It is space. Space for clarity, space for intention, space for conscious choice. Filling it too quickly with noise or distraction will delay the next phase. This stage requires trust, not blind faith, but trust built on experience. You have seen yourself endure. You have seen yourself adapt. You have seen yourself recover. Let those experiences inform your confidence. You do not need to know every step. You need to trust your ability to respond. There will be temptations to return to what is familiar, especially when the unknown feels heavy. Familiarity offers comfort, but comfort now comes at the cost of stagnation. You have outgrown certain patterns. Returning to them will feel safe but hollow. The threshold tests your patience with yourself. Growth is no longer dramatic. It is subtle. It happens in decisions that seem small but compound over time. Choosing rest instead of burnout. Choosing honesty instead of convenience. Choosing long-term stability over short-term relief. You are also learning to listen differently. Not to opinions, but to signals. Signals from your body, your energy, your focus. These signals guide you when external guidance becomes less reliable. Ignoring them creates friction. Respecting them creates flow. This is not the phase to rush ahead or to freeze in place. It is the phase to move deliberately, to observe consequences, to refine your direction continuously. This requires humility. The humility to admit you are still learning, even as your capacity increases. The threshold also marks a shift in motivation. External rewards lose their power. Internal alignment becomes the driving force. You begin to measure success by how peaceful you remain while moving forward, not by how impressed others are. If you try to force excitement here, you will feel frustrated. This phase is not loud. It is grounded. It is steady. It is composed. The excitement will come later, Once structure catches up with capacity, you may notice that your tolerance for chaos has decreased. This is not weakness, it is refinement. You no longer thrive in disorder. You seek clarity, structure, and intentional movement. Honor that shift. A threshold is crossed not by dramatic action, but by consistent, aligned steps. One decision at a time, one adjustment at a time, one calm response at a time. Nothing about this phase is accidental. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not failing. You are transitioning. If you see this today, understand that you are standing at a doorway, not a dead end. What you choose now will shape the rhythm of your next chapter. Move slowly. Choose carefully. Stay aligned. The threshold will open when you are ready. Not when you rush, but when you are stable enough to walk through it without losing yourself. Urgency is often misunderstood. When people hear the words "hurry up," their body tightens, their breath shortens, and their mind rushes into fear. But true urgency is not panic. Panic scatters energy. Urgency concentrates it. Fear weakens the spine. Awareness straightens it. When the message says "hurry up," it is not shouting at you to run blindly. It is whispering firmly that now is the moment to wake up. In life, there are quiet warnings and loud disasters. The wise do not wait for the disaster to understand the warning. They sense the shift in the air before the storm arrives. Urgency is that shift. It is the inner signal that time has changed its quality. The same hour that once felt wide now feels narrow. The same days that once felt forgiving now feel exact. Nothing external may have happened yet, but internally, something knows that delay is no longer harmless. Fear says, something bad is coming. Awareness says, something important is required of me now. This difference changes everything. When fear controls urgency, people rush, stumble, blame, and break. When awareness controls urgency, people simplify, focus, and move with precision. A disciplined mind does not confuse speed with clarity. It understands that the fastest way forward is often to stop wasting energy on what does not matter. Most human suffering does not come from lack of time. It comes from lack of presence. People have hours, days, and years, yet they live as if they are half asleep inside them. Urgency appears when life refuses to allow sleep any longer. It is the moment when reality taps you on the shoulder and says, "You are here, but you are not fully here." This is why urgency feels uncomfortable. It interrupts comfort. Comfort thrives on unconscious repetition. The same thoughts, the same habits, the same excuses recycled again and again. Awareness breaks repetition, and the mind resists this break because repetition feels safe even when it is destructive. A dangerous day is not dangerous because of fate. It is dangerous because it does not tolerate unconsciousness. On such days, the cost of being distracted increases. The cost of reacting emotionally increases. The cost of delaying responsibility increases. Nothing magical happens on the calendar, but internally, the margin for error becomes thinner. This is not punishment. This is training. In disciplined traditions, urgency is respected, not worshipped, not feared, but respected like fire. Fire can cook your food or burn your house. The difference is not the fire, it is how consciously you handle it. Urgency is the same. Handled unconsciously, it burns you. Handled consciously, it refines you. Many people wait for motivation to act. Urgency teaches a harder, but more powerful lesson: act first, clarity follows. When awareness rises, it does not always come with emotional comfort. Often it comes with pressure. Pressure reveals structure. If there is no structure, pressure feels like danger. If there is structure, pressure feels like purpose. This is why awareness must come before fear. Fear asks, "What if I fail?" Awareness asks, "What is required now?" Fear imagines future pain. Awareness deals with present responsibility. Fear drains energy. Awareness gathers it. When you are truly aware, you stop dramatizing time. You stop saying, "Everything is urgent." Instead, you see exactly what matters and what does not. You cut unnecessary conversations. You reduce mental noise. You become economical with your attention. This is not anxiety. This is precision. A disciplined mind understands that urgency does not mean doing more things. It means doing fewer things with total presence. The scattered person is always in a hurry and always behind. The centered person may move fast, but never feels rushed. This is the paradox. When urgency is rooted in awareness, the breath becomes calmer, not faster. The body becomes grounded, not tense. The voice becomes quiet, not loud, because awareness does not fight time. It aligns with it. Life gives warnings long before consequences. The problem is not that warnings are unclear. The problem is that people are distracted. They are busy proving, escaping, entertaining, comparing. Awareness requires stillness, and stillness feels threatening to an undisciplined mind because it exposes truth. Urgency is often the last polite message before reality becomes strict. If you ignore awareness, life will teach through pain, not because life is cruel, but because pain is harder to ignore. A wise person listens early when the message is soft. An untrained mind waits until the message becomes loud. When January 10, 11, and 12 are called dangerous, the danger is not in the days. The danger is in entering them without awareness. The danger is carrying old habits into new pressure. The danger is assuming yesterday's mindset will survive tomorrow's demand. Awareness prepares you in advance. Fear reacts too late. This is why spiritual discipline emphasizes daily practice. Not because practice makes you special, but because practice makes you ready. When urgency arrives, you do not suddenly become strong. You reveal the strength you have already trained. If there is no training, urgency feels like attack. If there is training, urgency feels like a signal to engage. A warrior does not panic when the drum beats faster. He adjusts his stance. Awareness is the stance of the mind. To hurry up consciously means to stop lying to yourself. Stop saying you have time when you are wasting it. Stop saying you will change when you are avoiding discomfort. Stop saying you understand when you have not yet embodied. Understanding without action is sleep wearing the mask of wisdom. Urgency strips masks. It exposes what is real. This exposure feels dangerous to the ego because the ego survives on stories. Awareness survives on truth. When truth enters, stories collapse. Many people fear urgency because it threatens their identity. If I move now, I cannot pretend anymore. If I act now, I must take responsibility. Fear wants delay because delay protects illusion. But awareness knows that delay compounds pain. Every time you postpone what you know must be done, the mind becomes heavier. The body becomes duller. The will becomes weaker. Urgency is the moment when this weight becomes noticeable. It is a mercy, not a threat. A dangerous day is often a doorway. One step taken consciously can change the entire direction of months or years. But the step must be taken now, not someday. Awareness lives only in now. Fear lives in imagined futures. When you live with awareness, urgency becomes simple. You wake up earlier, you speak less, you choose cleaner habits, you remove what drains you. Not dramatically, not emotionally, but decisively. This is why awareness feels sober. There is no excitement in it. No drama, just clarity. Fear says, hurry or else. Awareness says, move, because this matters. And when something truly matters, there is no resistance. In the end, urgency is not about time running out. It is about life calling you forward. The call is firm because the opportunity is real. Missed opportunities do not scream, they disappear quietly. So hurry up, not with shaking hands, but with steady steps. Hurry up by becoming present. Hurry up by aligning thought, breath, and action. Hurry up by letting go of what no longer serves the moment you are in. Because the most dangerous thing is not the day. The most dangerous thing is remaining unconscious when life is asking you to wake up. Dangerous days are not the enemy. They do not attack us from the outside. They are mirrors. They show us what we are really made of. They reveal the cracks in our character, the weaknesses in our routine, the laziness we hide behind smiles and excuses. When January 10, 11, and 12 are called dangerous, It is not a prediction of calamity. It is an invitation to observe yourself under pressure. Discipline is always quiet. Discipline is always subtle. It does not announce itself. But dangerous days strip away distraction and expose who has trained their mind and body and who has not. Discipline is not just doing the right thing when it is easy. Discipline is doing the right thing when everything within you resists. Dangerous days do not create resistance, they reveal it. They reveal where you have been cutting corners, where you have been soft, where you have been procrastinating, and where you have been lying to yourself. There is a difference between living in comfort and living in alignment. Comfort can appear harmless, even beautiful, but alignment is tested under tension. Dangerous days are the tension. They are the pressure that proves whether your inner life is strong enough to hold steady when everything outside feels unstable. People often think they are disciplined because they can follow routine when there is no urgency. They can wake early when nothing is pressing. They can meditate or exercise when the world is quiet. But real discipline is revealed when circumstances demand more than your comfort allows. It is easy to be patient when no one is testing you. It is easy to stay focused when the schedule is empty. It is easy to follow your path when the road is smooth. Dangerous days expose whether patience, focus, and effort are truly yours or just words you repeat to yourself. This is why discipline is so intimately tied to character. The habits you practice in ordinary days create the foundation. Dangerous days shake the foundation. If the foundation is weak, everything collapses. If the foundation is strong, everything becomes clear. Every act of discipline is an invisible seed. You water it with repetition, attention, and consistency. Most people water their seeds only when they feel like it. The world does not reward intermittent effort. Dangerous days reveal who has cultivated a garden of strength and who has left their growth to chance. There is no shortcut. There is no magic. Discipline is a silent force. It is not loud or spectacular. But when tension rises, when time compresses, when pressure grows, discipline becomes visible through action. A disciplined mind and body do not panic. They do not scatter. They do not make excuses. They move efficiently, decisively, and with clarity. When days are called dangerous, the unprepared will frantically move in all directions. They will expend energy but achieve little. They will look busy but feel lost. The disciplined will move quietly and achieve everything necessary. Dangerous days are opportunities to measure your invisible strength. They are the moments that separate words from deeds, intentions from reality. The person who speaks about effort but has not trained will feel pressure as terror. The person who has trained quietly will feel pressure as a signal to show their mastery. Discipline is cumulative. It is the sum of small, seemingly insignificant actions done over time. The person who has ignored small responsibilities will find dangerous days overwhelming. The person who has respected small duties will find dangerous days manageable. Dangerous days do not bend to wishful thinking. They bend to readiness. They reveal where preparation has been neglected. They illuminate the shadows of weakness. They force a choice, grow or retreat. Some will shrink, some will lash out, some will complain. Some will waste energy arguing with reality. But the disciplined see the moment clearly. They understand that no outside force is stronger than the inside force they have cultivated. Discipline is often misunderstood. People think it is strictness, rigidity, or denial. True discipline is fluid. It is responsive. It is adaptable. But it is rooted in unshakable structure. Dangerous days demand flexibility and steadfastness simultaneously. The untrained cannot achieve this. They either break or remain paralyzed. Discipline is not just about doing. It is about being consistent under pressure. Dangerous days make it impossible to hide inconsistency. They illuminate gaps in character like light in a dark room. You cannot ignore what is revealed. This is why the wise prepare before the storm, not during it. Preparation is not only physical or mental, it is spiritual. Discipline is an alignment of mind, body, and soul. Without all three, dangerous days will exploit weakness. The body will tire, the mind will falter, and the spirit will question. A person disciplined in all three dimensions moves steadily. Pressure tests endurance. It tests focus. It tests moral clarity. Those without discipline find these days unpredictable and threatening. Those with discipline find them clarifying and sharpening. Discipline is an inner armor. Dangerous days are the fire that tests the armor. If the armor is real, the fire only tempers it. If the armor is false, the fire exposes it. Every temptation, every distraction, every emotional impulse becomes magnified on dangerous days. There is no room to hide. Discipline ensures that magnification does not lead to collapse. Discipline ensures that impulses are observed and directed. Dangerous days reveal whether your will is strong or fragmented. They reveal whether your energy is wasted on meaningless things or concentrated on what truly matters. Most of life is a rehearsal for these days. Most of life is easy, forgiving, and safe. Dangerous days are rare. They demand presence, efficiency, courage, and calm. They do not forgive indulgence. They do not reward laziness. They reward the disciplined. Discipline is not about perfection. It is about alignment. Dangerous days measure alignment, not appearance. You may look calm, confident, or accomplished. But if your habits, thoughts, and intentions are fragmented, dangerous days will reveal it. Discipline becomes visible in small decisions. Will you choose clarity over confusion? Will you act rather than avoid? Will you stay present rather than be distracted? Will you honor your word to yourself when circumstances are difficult? Dangerous days answer these questions instantly. They accelerate life testing. The wise recognize this acceleration as a gift. They welcome it. They do not resist. They see it as an opportunity to demonstrate the strength they have been quietly cultivating. The untrained will see it as punishment. The trained will see it as proof. Discipline is not taught by easy days. It is cultivated in repetition, in struggle, in the everyday choices that no one notices. Dangerous days reveal whether those choices have substance. Every distraction ignored, every habit mastered, every small commitment kept compounds. It is invisible until the test arrives. Dangerous days are that test. The disciplined mind does not fight the days. It works with them, using pressure as leverage to act with precision. Discipline is action under constraint. It is mastery of self when the environment feels hostile. Dangerous days expose who has cultivated self-mastery and who has neglected it. The world is always testing, sometimes softly, sometimes violently. The message that days are dangerous is a reminder tests are near. Discipline is your shield, your strength, your freedom. Dangerous days are temporary. Discipline is permanent. Dangerous days are unforgiving. Discipline forgives. Dangerous days are unpredictable. Discipline is reliable. When a person has cultivated discipline, no day is truly dangerous. Challenges arrive, but they do not control. Urgency arrives, but it is met with calm. Pressure arrives, but it is converted into efficiency. Dangerous days reveal discipline, because discipline has already been created before the danger arrives. Nothing outside can teach what preparation has not already built inside. Dangerous days are like a litmus test. The unprepared fail visibly. The prepared excel quietly. Discipline is not about fear. It is about readiness. Dangerous days do not create readiness. They reveal it. Those who have cultivated inner order will move through the days with clarity, focus, and calm. Those who have neglected discipline will flounder. Discipline is a reflection of the life you have been building in the quiet moments. Dangerous days only reflect it back to you. Alignment, focus, presence, and strength, these are revealed, not created, in moments of testing. Dangerous days are a mirror. Discipline is the image reflected. Look into the mirror now. See what is revealed. Accept it, adjust it, build it. Because these days will not wait. And the life that moves forward is always the life that is prepared. Discipline carried into dangerous days transforms pressure into power, chaos into order, and fear into clarity. Dangerous days are inevitable. Lack of discipline is optional. The difference between destruction and mastery is not luck. It is the invisible cultivation of discipline before the test arrives. Most people spend their lives looking outside for enemies. They look for obstacles, for people who block their way, for circumstances that seem unfair. They believe that if the outside world were kinder, more predictable, or less threatening, they would succeed. But the truth is that the most dangerous enemy you will ever face is not outside. It lives inside. The internal enemy is subtle. It is quiet. It hides behind reason, habit, and comfort. It speaks in whispers, convincing you that your weaknesses are external, that you are powerless against what life throws at you. But danger is never born outside. Danger is born where the mind is weak, where attention is scattered, where discipline is absent. If you do not recognize this, every day will feel perilous. You will chase shadows. You will fight illusions. You will exhaust yourself looking in the wrong direction. Dangerous days like January 10, 11, and 12 are not dangerous because the calendar demands it. They are dangerous because they strip away distractions and reveal the internal enemy. They create pressure in which unresolved fear, untrained habits, emotional instability, and indecision are exposed. The mind that is untrained reacts. The mind that is trained observes. External chaos will always exist. Storms will always arrive. Life will always present obstacles. But the person who has mastered the internal environment moves through storms with calm. Those who have not are swept away. The internal enemy is impatience. It whispers, "You cannot wait. You cannot trust. You cannot endure." It magnifies the smallest inconvenience and paralyzes action. The internal enemy is distraction. It keeps you busy with irrelevant things, trivial arguments, meaningless entertainment, or endless comparisons, leaving no energy for what truly matters. The internal enemy is self-doubt. It asks, "Are you enough? Do you deserve success? Will you survive?" It hides behind humility and prudence, but it prevents decisive action. The internal enemy is resistance. Resistance to discomfort, resistance to effort, resistance to truth. It is the most persistent force in the human mind because it is invisible. You cannot fight it with swords or shields. You cannot avoid it by changing circumstances. You can only recognize it. And once recognized, you must act consciously. Dangerous days do not create internal enemies. They expose them. They show clearly where the mind is weak, where habits are unrefined, where emotion is unregulated, where intention lacks follow-through. The unprepared blame the outside. They say, "If the day were different, I would succeed. If the conditions were better, I would perform." But the disciplined understand that conditions are never perfect. Life is always unpredictable. Control is an illusion if you rely on the outside. The real power is cultivated within. When the internal enemy is strong, external danger becomes overwhelming. When the internal enemy is disciplined, external chaos becomes irrelevant. Awareness of this principle is the foundation of mastery. People waste decades running from shadows outside when the real battlefield is internal. Dangerous days accelerate this revelation. They compress time, attention, and energy. They make it impossible to ignore the state of the mind. Every unresolved emotion, every untrained habit, every neglected skill becomes amplified. The mind that has not cultivated self-mastery experiences these days as disaster. The mind that has cultivated self-mastery experiences them as opportunity. The internal enemy thrives on delay. It whispers, "Not yet, tomorrow, later." But dangerous days do not tolerate delay. They demand presence. They demand immediate engagement. They demand clarity. The first step to defeating the internal enemy is recognition. See it clearly. Name it. Admit that your fear, doubt, distraction, or weakness is not coming from the outside. The storm does not make you weak. Your lack of preparation makes you vulnerable. Your lack of attention makes you reactive. Your lack of discipline makes you slow. When you face the internal enemy honestly, you gain the only kind of power that truly matters, the power to act decisively in any circumstance. This is why dangerous days are gifts, not curses. They illuminate the battlefield inside. They force you to confront what you have hidden, ignored, or avoided. They demand courage, not from fighting the world, but from facing yourself. Every human struggle is internal before it becomes external. Poverty begins in the mind with doubt or procrastination. Conflict begins with uncontrolled emotion or resentment. Failure begins with hesitation and indecision. Dangerous days accelerate the timeline. They remove excuses. They remove comfort. They remove the illusions that keep the internal enemy invisible. The greatest victories are always first won internally. External achievement is only a reflection of internal mastery. To conquer the days ahead, begin by conquering your own mind. Discipline the mind, regulate the emotions, focus attention, and align intention with action. The internal enemy resists this. It is persistent because it wants the status quo. It wants comfort. It wants survival without growth. It thrives on fear, indecision, and distraction. Recognizing this resistance is the beginning of freedom. Awareness alone weakens it. Action strengthens your dominance over it. Each conscious decision, each focused effort, each refusal to indulge fear is a strike against the internal enemy. The more you practice this in ordinary days, the stronger you become before dangerous days arrive. Dangerous days like January 10, 11, and 12 make invisibility impossible. They remove distractions. They accelerate time. They demand that the internal enemy be faced. They magnify the smallest weaknesses and amplify the consequences. This is why preparation is vital. Preparation is not just external. It is not about storing resources or planning steps. Preparation is internal readiness. It is mental clarity, emotional control, focused attention, calm presence, and deliberate action. Those who prepare internally will navigate dangerous days with efficiency and calm. Those who do not will feel as though the world itself is attacking. The enemy is not outside. The enemy is within. This is a truth most avoid. It is uncomfortable because it requires personal responsibility. It demands honesty, self-reflection, and effort. It cannot be ignored. It cannot be delegated. The external world can change, but until you face the internal enemy, every challenge will feel overwhelming. Awareness is the key. Consciousness is the weapon. Action is the method. Awareness allows you to see the internal patterns that create weakness. Consciousness lets you choose different responses instead of reacting habitually. Action enforces the new alignment of mind, body, and will. Dangerous days reveal this clearly. They expose where awareness is absent, where consciousness is distracted, where action is delayed. This is why external challenges are never truly dangerous to the disciplined. The storm comes, pressure rises, the days compress. But the disciplined mind is already prepared. It has trained to see internal patterns. It has practiced response over reaction. It has cultivated calm under pressure. The internal enemy can only dominate those who have allowed it to dominate themselves. Awareness and discipline are the antidote. Every fear confronted, every impulse observed, every habit refined, every emotion regulated, every choice aligned with intention weakens the internal enemy. Dangerous days are opportunities to prove this. They test whether the lessons of ordinary life have been absorbed. They test whether you can operate at your highest level when conditions are compressed, attention is pressured, and distractions are magnified. Those who succeed will look back at the days and see that nothing outside truly controlled them. They will see that the only thing that could have stopped them was themselves. And they will recognize that they overcame the internal enemy, not external circumstance. Life rewards mastery of self above all else. The external world is indifferent. Chaos exists. Time compresses. Circumstances change. Only mastery of the internal environment ensures steady progress, calm action, and resilience. Dangerous days are accelerators. They accelerate truth. They accelerate consequence. They accelerate opportunity. If your enemy is internal, you can defeat it. You cannot defeat what you do not see. Dangerous days force visibility. They force confrontation. They force courage. Awareness, discipline, and action are the tools. When these are cultivated, the internal enemy no longer dictates outcomes. Fear does not paralyze. Distraction does not dominate. Emotion does not derail. Indecision does not stall. The internal enemy can be managed, controlled, and ultimately neutralized. Dangerous days reveal whether this is true. They are the mirror that shows the internal battlefield clearly. They are the test of whether preparation, awareness, and discipline have been internalized. The outside world cannot defeat a mind aligned, focused, and self-mastered. The days themselves are not dangerous. They are simply accelerated lessons in internal mastery. If you fail, it is because the internal enemy is still active. If you succeed, it is because the internal enemy has been confronted and subdued. The choice is always yours. Dangerous days do not create fate. They reveal it. They reveal whether you have cultivated internal strength or surrendered it. The outside cannot teach this lesson. It can only reveal it. Confront yourself. Recognize the internal enemy. Cultivate awareness, discipline, and action. Dangerous days will pass. Mastery of self remains. External circumstances will shift. Mastery of self endures. The only true danger is remaining unaware. The only true weakness is surrendering to the internal patterns that control you unconsciously. Face the enemy within. Train it. Align it. Master it. Only then do dangerous days become nothing more than mirrors reflecting the strength you have already built inside. Nothing outside can overpower the prepared mind. The internal enemy can only exist if you allow it. Dangerous days make allowance impossible. They force clarity, focus, and presence. And in that forced alignment, the mind becomes stronger, sharper, and more resilient than ever. You are not powerless. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the creator of your internal environment. Dangerous days are invitations to prove this. The internal enemy may be persistent. It may resist. It may whisper. But it has no power over awareness, discipline, and action. Master these, and no day, no pressure, no obstacle can truly threaten you. You move with calm. You act decisively. You navigate complexity effortlessly. You do not complain. You do not falter. You do not blame. You only act. Dangerous days reveal the enemy. Mastery of self defeats it. External chaos is irrelevant to the mind that has been trained, disciplined, and awakened. Dangerous days pass. Strength remains. Mastery persists. And the internal enemy is no longer a threat. This is the secret. The enemy is never outside. It has never been outside. True danger is always internal, and true power is always cultivated from within. Dangerous days do not change that truth. They only reveal it.